We're here with Indiana State Senator Tom Weatherwax. Question 1, Tom Weatherwax, when were you first elected to the Indiana State Senate?
1988.
Question 2, how many committees have you chaired?
Well, they claim I've chaired more committees in the Senate than any other senator in the history of the state.
Does that make you old or wise?
Neither, but it makes me both. And Christ, before that, of course, Bill, I was in the House for 4 years, but I've loved every minute of it. No, I've enjoyed it. And the reason I always like to have a different committee is that I felt it was a great way to learn, and I always asked to be chairman of a different committee. I think it gives you a different perspective, and it makes you humble, and it makes you have to listen.
Toughest committee?
Education.
Why?
Because I took on what nobody thought I could ever do, and I was able to be the author of Public Law 221, standards and accountability, and I put people together that never have talked to each other ever before in the history of the state.
What's your take on New Tech High?
I love it. I was out there and I went through that school and I actually saw young people solving problems, working together, and actually they pick a partner that they help learn with, and yet if this person doesn't work hard enough, they can fire that person. It's real life. I think it's exciting stuff. And I think these kids are going to have the greatest mind, the greatest visions, and I just think this is so far ahead of what else is going on in our state that Rochester High and Rochester Junior High are really going to be a model for other people to look at.
3 most important politicians in terms of that had the biggest influence on you.
Probably my grandfather, Bob Garden, and Larry Borst. I didn't know my grandfather was a politician. I knew him well, and I really loved to be with my grandfather. And of course, he and his brothers go back to the days of James Whitcomb Riley, Little Church in the Wildwood, and they actually wrote that song with their minister, Elijah Pitts. But I didn't know until I became a senator that my grandfather actually did run for a state rep the year I was born in 1942.
Did he get elected?
No. But he stood for things that I have since read back and looked at what he did, and really, I admired my grandfather a great deal, even before I ever knew he tried to run for state rep. But I was born and raised in Iowa, and so I was talking to you about a Senate or a House district back in Iowa. But Bob Garden was a great person that I looked at, and
he was from
Columbus, and did a wonderful job, very fair, very straight shooter, and did a lot of things to help me, gave me a lot of leeway, encouraged me a lot. And of course, Larry Borst, of course, my background is finance and cost accounting, but Senator Borst, as chairman of our finance, back then you got to know that finance had a little different role then. It was totally the committee. It was finance, appropriations, and everything, and he was over the whole thing. But he gave me a lot of leeway to do a lot of things that were cutting-edge stuff that, in fact, I think he would let me take on these challenges, and he would pull me back just before I'd crash into the wall, just in case he thought I was going too far, too fast. But we got
how's the gubernatorial race going to turn out this year? What's your prediction?
Oh, I think that Mitch Daniels is going to pull it off. I think there's a man that is not afraid of change. He has done what he said he was going to do. Let's face it, I mean, everything he has done has just been about defying political popularity. I mean, this is a guy that's not afraid of taking changes. And one thing I'll tell you, Bill, that I've learned is that our state, maybe, is much more resistant to change than I thought. Maybe it's a lot more resistant to change than I thought.
How come your wife won't let you retire completely?
I don't think she wants to put up with me all the time. I'll still keep my job with the Andersons, which I love also. But I love what I'm doing. I'm going to miss being your state senator, the state senator.
So you're going to come back and see us at Rochester, Tom?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I promise not to ride off in the sunset.
Thanks for the time, buddy.
Thanks, Bill.